I hear sound ache before I see it. The bracing crash of the waves, the playful, teasing trickle of the burn, and the whisper of the unseen waterfall that rises to a roar as I approach. My route from Tormer draws me down, not up as one might expect to travel in the direction of paradise, and the early spring marsh ground feels unsteady beneath my feet as I sink into its squelching grasp. I pull, wrenching my mud-soaked calves back to the surface with a pop, and my virginal walking boots re-emerge caked in thick, oozing sludge. I feel my socks becoming sodden and chilled. The sea's own footprint on the earth can be sensed with every step, water coursing through the muddied veins of this moistened soil and flooding the land with its lifeblood. There are more wildflowers, plucky indigo and ivory petals sticking their heads audaciously through the peat, just as the sun finds occasional breaks in the mist of pale grey cloud through which to shine at full strength. Taking sound rather than sight as my guide, I stride across the bogland, suitcase swinging. I have no landmarks to follow except for the dappling of flora and an intuitive, gut-felt sense of being right that has usually served me well in life, even allowing for a few quite spectacular exceptions. I start to wonder if I've wandered off course. Then, in the distance, I spot a bridge. I hurry towards it, running as fast as my load will let me, and that all at once the mysterious burbling of the burn translates into a gushing, galvanising call of encouragement. Reaching a higher point, I realise that the water was always by my side, guiding me with its voice alone until I wove and twisted my way to the world's edge. This bridge has stone piers but wooden struts, well worn by wind and rain if not human footfall. I pause at its centre, poised between old world and new, while the burn tumbles and cavorts in bubbles of ecstasy beneath me. I can see the house, Gavin's house, ringed and illuminated by this brilliant stream of water, glimmering bright white as the sun alights on the waves. Without knowing why, or at least driven by reasoning that I cannot put into words, I let the burn draw me to the house in a circular approach. Like Tormer, it faces side-on and not straight. Putting its shoulder to the wind, I realise now, while the sea swells and lashes only a stone's throw away from the threshold. The horizon is framed by the Cuillins, the Isle of Skye mountain range of which Gavin sometimes speaks dreamily, and I can make out a delicate dusting of snow still lying atop its angular peaks. Except the cottage itself, the only human-made construct is a small, automatic lighthouse, mounted on the largest island within Sandaig Bay. Its flash is faint in the daylight, a starshine's subtle glint more welcome than warning. Even so, I move closer with caution, my free hand reaching tentatively towards the nearest whitewashed wall as if the building were a wild animal, as shy as it is mysterious and instinctively averse to sudden movements. Slowly, my fingers touch. Uneven stonework ripples under my palm. Hello. I'm a friend. Sandaig's door is double-panelled, each side having a small glass square to let in the light. Gavin told me that he had painted them recently in this uplifting shade of sky blue, but unremitting sea wind exposure has already stripped off some of the finish. Beside the right panel, Gavin has planted a rose, its 3 delicate red flowers still tightly wound in bud. Droplets of ocean spray cling to their fragile leaves. Soon, I think. Soon they will grow, and soon we will be together. I reach into my notebook pocket where the key has been waiting since London. Gentle and reverential, I open the door. The walls are pitch pine panelled. The ceiling is laced with antique, black-eyed beams. Setting down my suitcase, I walk inside with my eyes still adjusting, the pale sky and sun above the shimmering waves outside creating the sharpest possible contrast with this dark, varnished retreat. Gavin had warned me that provisions would be primitive, and it seems he made no exaggeration. Without electricity, the only indoor light sources are candles, dotted about the room in various states of melted dissolution, and an oil lamp propped beside a corduroy-covered sofa that Gavin made himself using swept-ashore fish crates. Everything one needs washes in with the tide, given time. How right he was. A pearl of wisdom to live by, understood by those well acquainted with the ways of the ocean. The tide will bring you what you need. It has brought me here, after all. The fireplace is unlit, of course, yet well stocked with driftwood. Above it, the mantelpiece displays an array of fan-shaped scallop shells. Above them, a tightly pressed row of Gavin's most treasured books. I scan their spines. Brideshead Revisited, Death in Venice, and me. I trace the letters of my name in each poetry collection, fingers flowing from K to A, the swirl of the second letter that Gavin and I share. When at last I lower my eyes, I notice that the stone chimney-piece itself is engraved. It is no will-o'-the-wisp that I have followed here. I close my eyes and am struck by a sense of Gavin's presence so powerful that a part of me expects to see him when I reopen them, whiskey glass in one hand, cinder-tipped cigarette in the other. I know precisely whom I have followed here.